Good afternoon, students. Today we are starting the new unit, Inventory Management. In this class, we are going to discuss the introduction to inventory. Then, what is meant by an inventory? Inventory means it is a stock of product of a company and components thereof that make up the product. So, inventory means it is the stock of a particular product which is going to be produced in the industry. It includes raw material and working process and finished component. So the inventory will be related to raw material, finished group and work in process. And also it is a physical stock of the items of a business or production organization which is kept in hand for the effective running of the business in any organization. Then the materials management is a system of board-based planning and control over one of the most important components of cost of the goods sold. The material management involves the organizing and coordinating all management functions that are responsible for every aspect of material movement and transportation. So this system is triggered by demands that stocks causing the inventory management to request replenishment through purchasing the agents or direct contact with the suppliers or vendors. There are mainly three classes of materials that are to be purchased in that. So inventory is based on raw material inventory, in-process inventory and indirect inventory. The raw material inventory and in-process inventory and indirect inventory, most of the cases we have to be aware on the only that the raw materials or the materials will be classified that has to be purchased and managed. Firstly, these are the raw materials. These are generally extracted from the ground and then refined, but they are still the basic ingredients. Example is which includes mining materials such as copper, gold and platinum, electrical chemicals such as sodium and potassium, salts and grains such as wheat and grain, beans such as coffee, natural gas and petroleum. These are all maybe the raw materials, but these raw materials have value added by operation. Actually, the raw materials, which may be the cost very linear, but the value adding occurs when purchased components are further transformed by the company's production process. Thus, refining, processing, packaging, and shipping, when done by the organization, are value adding and profit making processes. All buyers of raw materials will specify their required quality standards, and grains can be too dirty. The coffee prices vary with the perceived quality of taste of the beans. The raw materials can be bulky and required special spacious storage bins. The companies prefer to locate their refining operations nearer to the source of raw material so that They don't have to transport the materials from one place to another place, which they are eventually derived for use. The organizations that are in the business of supplying raw materials at the very start of the upstream acquisition process, which are themselves depending on purchase. And the second component and subassemblies are purchased materials that have greater value added than the raw material. These sub-assemblies and components which are to be purchased during the process, that means process of in process inventory. These are the things we need to do in the second stage. There are in fact composed of raw materials that are already have been experienced value adding. The components and subassemblies that are characterized by some of the degrees of fabrication, assembly and manufacturing. They are assembled into higher order products by combining them with each other and with other parts, maybe the producer. This produces the third class of materials that need to be managed. That means indirect expenses or indirect inventory. The work in process have more value added than the purchased sub-assemblies. This is a progression of value adding that starts at raw materials and move up the supply chain to the finished goods and then sold and shipped. The inventory management encompasses the widest spectrum of activities which are related to materials. The raw materials and purchased parts are flowing from various suppliers to manufacturing, and finished components are going to from manufacturing to the market. Within the manufacturing department, the semi-finished goods move from one machine to another. The three subsystems are linked in such a way that there is no inventory stock in between them. Therefore, the impact of any disruption in any one of the subsystems will be felt in the other two. Then objectives of inventory control. The basic managerial objects are twofold. One is avoid over or under investment in inventories. Second, to provide right quantity and quality at the right time at proper value. This is the thing. To achieve that, we have to maintain the inventory and inventory control. Then objectives of inventory control. One is operating objective, second one is financial objective. Operating means during the process of production. Financial means where there may be the capital investment. That means initial or capital cost or holding cost, okay, direct cost, indirect cost. These are the financial objectives, and operating cost is the during the process of manufacturing. What is the our objective to maintain the inventory? See, let us see. First one is availability of raw material. That means availability of materials. Either maybe the materials means not a physical component of raw. It includes the machinery or men or labor or materials. These are all come under the materials. So all type of materials available at all the times so that the production may not be held up for want of supply of material. So always we have to ready up with the production with the required quantity of materials. So for that we need to always maintain the inventory so that the production may not be held up. Held up means it will not be stop up. So always we have to supply the materials which are all required for the production in order to smooth flowing of the production so that we can achieve our goals or the required quantity of finished components in the right time. Then minimizing the wastage. We have to permit only uncontrollable wastages. So wastage of uncontrollable means which are all to be permit, otherwise we can get a major damage to the industry. So which are all to be uncontrollable, we have to permit them only. For example, leakaging of any pipeline that will damage to the industry or that will create another problem to the production. So avoid wastage by leaking or thefting of a material or spoiling of a material or due to rust or dirt or rust. So we have to keep the everything surroundings of the production in a clean manner. Yeah. The promotion of manufacturing in efficiency. So we have to use the upgraded materials and upgraded manufacturing processes so that we can achieve the right product with the right quality at right time. So when right type of raw material is available at the right time, no production will be stopped and we can get it the finished component in the right time. Next, better services to the customers. The maintain proper production flow to produce sufficient finished goods to meet the customer demand. So to satisfy the customer, we need to give the demand products. For that, the demand products is to be delivered in the in time. Then for in time, we need to maintain the availability of raw material at the right time. So these are all called an interlinked components. Next, control of production level. Without to increase or decrease the production as per the demand, as well as to maintain proper buffer stock to meet any eventually in difficult times. So the control of production level is to be increases or decreases, which is to be related to the demand and supply of a product. So the stock maintenance is to be uh, kept in the very difficult times. Okay, optimum level of inventories. It is done in view as per the uh, operational requirements, and it also avoids the out of stock danger. Then financial objectives. The economy in purchasing the managements may every attempt to purchase the raw material in bulk quantity and to take an advantage of favorable marketing condition and optimum investment and efficient use of capital. The finance management should be set up maximum and minimum levels of stocks to avoid deficiency or surplus of the stock position. So we have to maintain the optimum, that means very, not a minimum or not a maximum, whichever quantity is to be required to satisfy the demand of a customer or services to the customer, that is to be maintained in a industry, that will be take it as a capital. And economy in purchasing means, while we are purchasing the materials in a bulk quantity, we have to take that advantage as a, either maybe discounts or maybe uh, that means at lowest prices, that is to be maintained. And reasonable price, market should market should ensure the supply of raw materials at a reasonable low price without sacrificing the quality of it, thereby helping the cost of the production and the quality of the finished component. Then relevant inventory costs that are available in the production. The inventory management policies have cost implications. The decisions about how much inventory to hold affect item costs and holding costs, ordering cost, and shortages cost. The item cost of a purchased item, which includes the price paid for the item and any other direct cost for getting the item to the plant, such as the transportation and insurance and taxes, so that the cost of an item is built up by the manufacturing company, and the cost item includes the direct labor and direct materials and factory overhead. And item cost includes the price paid for the item plus other direct costs associated with the purchases. Second one is holding cost. The holding cost include the variable expenses incurred by the firm for the volume of inventory which is to be held. As inventory increases, so do the holding cost, which can be determined unit holding cost by examining three cost components, that is capital, storage, and risk. Annual holding costs are typically stated in either dollars or percentage of item value, and holding cost includes the variable cost or variable expenses incurred by the plant related to the volume of inventory held. Capital cost is the highest one. And functions of inventory. The functions means it reduces the dependency of one subsystem on the another, and it helps in developing smooth production plans during aggregate production planning process. The inventories are built in anticipation of shortages and price increases. It helps in taking advantage of price discounts. So the inventory also help in developing levels of production plans when the production doesn't fluctuates. Inventories are also built up in anticipation of shortages and prices increases. Sometimes the vendor gives the price discounts for buying in large in large quantities that leads to purchase in large quantities, which increases the inventory. Since it is essential to keep inventories for the smooth and effective operations of an organization, the question may arise that whether to keep inventories or not. So, if the question may arises, the how much inventory should be kept? If so, how much inventory should be kept in the industry? So the inventory is a necessary, but which cannot be eliminated completely, and at the same time large levels of inventories may prove disastrous for the company. Surplus inventory may become the graveyard of businesses and a major factor contributing to business failures. The inventory plays a crucial role in the effective and smooth operation of the organization that will decouples the various stages of a business system. So these materials are independent, which means they are not components of high variety of finished components. The basic two models includes the economic order quantity model that is designed for buying items to satisfy replenishment requirements of continuous demand items, and economic production quantity model that is designed for determining the lot size or batch size in which an item will be produced. So only in an inventory, the basic models for finding the inventory is EOQ and EPQ, economic order quantity and economic production quantity. These are the methods we will discuss clearly in the upcoming videos also. Then, what is the advantages of inventory? Advantages means we can deliver the finished product in time. Since we are maintaining the inventory of materials in the right quantity so that the production or manufacturing company can earn a reputation as a reliable supply. So our finished goods can be raw materials for the buyers and a reputation can get the more customers. It's possibility of discounts on bulk purchase. We are having the heavy raw material. With that we can produce products on the demand also. Then we have a possibility of discounts on bulk purchases. Then efficiently handle unforeseen circumstances. Suppose in any case of bandh or transportation difficulties, due to that we no need to worry about the material transportation. So with that the production may not be stop up. Then no idling of workers and machinery. If the raw material is not available in the right time, there is no possibility of doing the production in time. So with that we need to maintain the right inventory so that the worker and the machinery may not be able to in a position of uh, idler. Then disadvantages of inventory. The working capital tied up. It cannot utilize the amount for other purposes or not yet to be in the interest. So we have to kept our capital, that is working capital, in the inventory only. We have to always maintain the optimum storage of this inventory, so that the amount will be stored not in a cash in the bank or otherwise in the cash on hand. It will looks like a substance or a physical component in the storeroom, so that the working capital may be close up and more space to be required. We are maintaining, if you are maintaining the more inventory, then it is our responsibility to choose the more space, and for that we need to allot some rent also. Then increase insurance charges. If the increased cost of handling and manufacturing, we need to get the insurance to the raw material or to the products. The increased overhead expenses. So we are creating the space for the inventory, and we are creating the insurance also. Then we have to give a security of personnel to guard the inventory in a efficient manner and chances of damages, while preserving a huge amount of raw material or an inventory in a single place. We have to be clear that there is a chances of damaging due to the environmental or climatic changes, which are unexpected changes in the nature, and increased chance of abundance also. So with that, we have studied, or we have noted that the inventory, what is the purpose of the inventory, and the functions of inventory, and how the inventory will be takes place, and advantages and disadvantages of the inventory. With that, the introduction to the inventory will be closed. Thank you.